We're really, really delighted that you're here tonight. We've been looking forward to this for quite some time now. Having Girl Geek and any visitors to Realtor.com is just a joy, because when you have a home, you want to welcome people into it. What is something that has happened in my life that actually had a significant impact on who I am today? And I want you to huddle up and I want you to share with them what that one thing was.
Tell us about the really hellish moments. Tell us about the worst part of it. Tell us about the best, the most euphoric part. And then we sort of listen to that and then we say, well, that really awful part, I think we can fix that.
People who you've worked with may not have ever known that about you, and that's all it took to get to know somebody better. It's a conversation. It's breaking down the walls. It's breaking down stereotypes. It's getting to know one another.
We want to make sure that we are solving the right problems and we understand what are the problems that we are trying to solve for our customer.
For those of you who are wanting to be part of our family, it's obviously a great place to be for women and girls, and for great guys like Simon as well.
When we take the time to hear other people's stories, it certainly goes a long way.
Hello and welcome to our home tonight. We're so thrilled to have all of you here tonight, and we are honored to be able to host Girl Geek and all of you at Realtor.com tonight. My name is Pam Holmberg. Ooh, that just went up. My name is Pam Holmberg, and I'm the head of HR at Realtor.com, and I am excited to just give you a little bit of information about who we are, and I'm excited for you to hear tonight from other people from our company, to hear more about what we do, how we service the market, and hopefully you will all find the information really beneficial. All right, to get started, just to make it a little more fun. So at Realtor.com, home is everything to us. It is really what we focus on, and we understand that that owning a home is really, it continues to be one of the greatest dreams of many Americans across the country. And so for us though, home is much more than just a roof and four walls. It is the place where we have our families. It's the place where we go for safety and for warmth. It's the place where we create memories. And so we recognize that, and we put that at the forefront of everything that we do. We also recognize it is the single largest expense that most people will ever, single largest purchase that most people will ever buy. And so we recognize that there's not just an emotional connection to it, but there is a very large financial connection. What you probably all know is that the real estate market is massive. What you might not know is that over 6 million homes were sold in the United States in 2017, and it's a total of $1.8 trillion in transaction value. It is a huge, huge opportunity. And for us, we really want to ensure that we do everything we can to help connect the home purchaser, the consumer, with the right real estate agent. And really it is one simple mission for us, and that is to empower people by making all things home simple, efficient, and enjoyable. Now, how many of you have purchased a home? How many of you have purchased a home using Realtor.com? Sorry, I had to plug that. What you all know, except for Dottie, who used Realtor.com, is it is not a simple process. It is anything but easy. It is extremely stressful and time-consuming and scary. And again, what we try to do is take away some of that fear, some of that stress, and create a product that helps, again, connect the buyer to an agent who can help walk you through that. And so if you haven't visited our mobile apps or our website, I'd highly encourage you to do so. And I think what you would find is that there's a lot to what we offer. It is not just a connection to an agent. We offer information about how to plan on your first home or home mortgage, how to fix your credit if you have a credit problem, what areas might be right for you and your family. So there's a ton of information out there. So it is much more than just that connection. And so hopefully you'll take some time to take a look at our website. And as was mentioned earlier today, we've been around for 20 years. So we are one of the original companies that have been focused on digital real estate. So we have a huge track record in this area, and we have continued to transform our company as the real estate market has also transformed. We get 63 million visitors to our website every month. It's an astounding number. And so there's so many people who are out there looking for this information, and that continues to be our focus. We lead the market in engagement. And really, when a customer is ready to buy a home, we're the place that they come, and we couldn't be more proud of that. And as I said, it is our #1 focus to ensure that we are helping connect the buyer with the right real estate agent. Here are the company values, and really, I'll let you read through these, but what the main focus is for us is we don't take this responsibility lightly. We want to ensure that everything we do to support this process isn't just focused on what we do, but how we do it, because we really believe that that matters. So I hope that you enjoy this evening. I hope that you find the information beneficial. And again, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
And I'm here. We're going to get to know each other a little bit better. So I want to invite anybody who's in the back, including my Realtor.com friends, to come forward and take a seat, because we're going to feel the love. So I want to see the seats filled, okay? Hey, everybody, I'm Miss Sarah Staley. I'm a part of the Realtor.com team, and I'm part of our team that leads communications, outreach, and culture. So we're really, really delighted that you're here tonight. We've been looking forward to this for quite some time now. Having Girl Geek and any visitors to Realtor.com is just a joy, because when you have a home, you want to welcome people into it. And so we've got out the welcome mat for you tonight, and we're delighted. So I want to show you a quick picture. I'm going to take the non-working clicker. Thank you. And this is Scarlett. This is my daughter. And as you can probably sense, Scarlett was looking at me one day with that look. That look of like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're thinking, but she was definitely checking me out. Now, you were probably checking a number of people in this room out already tonight. It's what we do. You decided probably before even getting that Girl Geek invitation what Realtor.com was in your own mind. Maybe you've driven by a number of times this evening, or in your commute. You've thought of Santa Clara, you've seen the Realtor.com sign, you haven't really known what we do. Perception is something, and stereotyping is something we do every day. So let's do this. I want you to look at the people around you. Deepa, look at the people around you. Jesse, Woody, look at the people around you. All right, right? You've got a perception. You've been checking them out, and you've been doing it all night long. All right. Don't pretend like you haven't, Jesse. All right, now here's the deal. I want you to take a quiet moment, and I want you to personally go somewhere and think about, what is something that has happened in my life that actually had a significant impact on who I am today? Okay? Maybe it was career-wise, maybe it was family-wise. Now I want you to look at a new friend next to you. Maybe it's an old friend, but it's probably not a conversation you've had before. And I want you to huddle up, and I want you to share with them what that one thing was. Okay, go. Let it out. What is one thing that might have significantly changed and had an impact on who you are? Isn't that fascinating, right? We have these perceptions, and within 1 minute, you can create a personal connection that probably, the connection that's now there is a story you may not have ever shared. People who you've worked with may not have ever known that about you, and that's all it took to get to know somebody better. It's a conversation. It's breaking down the walls. It's breaking down stereotypes. It's getting to know one another. I saw fists over here. Catherine was like punching the air. I saw hands over here. I don't know what's going on, But I intend to follow up because I don't know all those stories, but certainly when we take the time to hear other people's stories, it certainly goes a long way. You know, sometimes we're right with our first impressions. The fact of the matter is sometimes we feel like we get each other. I even feel like I get people sometimes when I'm interviewing them for a job description. You just feel that personal connection, right? But honestly, what often will happen is that I get you means more that I know more about myself than I know about you. The fact is that we live in a world of stereotypes. We've been doing this for ages, but we certainly do it more than now. Whether it's your Bitmoji, whether it's your LinkedIn, whether it's your Instagram, Musical.ly, whatever it is, I can't keep up. You have a perception of me, you have a perception of my world, you have a perception of my work. And sometimes it's harder for some of us because we use our voices more demonstratively. That can be at work, that can be personally, that can be in our families. But we're really glad that you're here today because for us at Realtor.com, it's about opening that door and wiping your feet on that welcome mat and coming in and being your authentic self. You know, intersectionality, we often talk a lot about, you may not know what this means, but intersectionality is beyond inclusion, it's beyond diversity. It's when you really take time to get to know a person's story. And that's when the real color comes in. So we are so absolutely delighted that you're here tonight because we want to know your color. We want to know who you are. We want you to know more about us. That's something that I think we all aim to be in our daily lives. And it's certainly a part of our fingerprint here. So we're just truly delighted to welcome you here tonight. You know, we all have a story. We all have wonderful people in our lives. We certainly do here at Realtor.com, and we're glad you're a new part of our neighborhood. We welcome and hope that you'll get to know more about our story tonight and more about one another. So welcome. I'm going to introduce Chung.
Thank you. Ooh. Hello, everyone. This is apparently the infomercial part of the session tonight, so I appreciate you guys giving us about 5-10 minutes just to kind of tell you a little bit about kind of what our products are and kind of what we do around here. So I'll try to be entertaining, so because I don't want to get between you and Wang at the back there, but thank you. A little bit charity laugh really helps. For those of you who love speaking, they dig this. For the rest of us, we kind of cringe up, so we'll try. But thank you, welcome. As kind of Pam and Sarah said, we're excited to kind of welcome you to our home. And we really appreciate you taking a little bit of time out from your busy day to come hang out with us. Special thanks to Girl Geek for this opportunity to host so many people. We're really excited that all of you are here. The company has been around for 20 years, and where we started from was around home search. And the pain point that we were solving for was that, hey, it's kind of not easy. Right? Trying to figure out kind of what home to buy, where's the right one for you, planning your routes down, those are not straightforward questions. And so where the company started off was around kind of what we call home search. And we have, you heard from Pam, 63 million people. They use our website, they use our mobile apps, and this is kind of what they do. They essentially come here because they're looking for information, and we try to give them an experience which is easy to use, super helpful, and be as proactive as possible, because sometimes you can't always be checking for the right home. You really want the right home to tell you when it's available. So that's kind of what we do. And that's kind of the UI piece of it, the UX piece of it. But sitting below it, as our kind of our engineers and our data scientists will tell you, there are very few things you can work on that is such a data-rich kind of problem or domain. And our data scientists geek out on all the crazy things they can do with kind of the rich data sets that we have, 125 million homes, computer vision of photography, trying to decipher kind of matching algorithms between kind of like what someone with their migrate interest could match with others. It's not just an interesting consumer design problem, but it's a really rich kind of machine learning problem as well. And what we do is that then we take all these consumers who find a home that they're interested in. We encourage them to kind of say, well, take the next step. You need a professional to kind of help you figure out what you need to do in order to kind of complete your home buying journey. So we make it easy for them to kind of reach out to an agent, and we do some pretty kind of like nifty things in the background to kind of route kind of a consumer to the agent that we believe that can best help them. So that's kind of what we do. And we do it really, really well. We're really proud of all that we've achieved. 63 million users, rated by the industry as the #1 most helpful tool or the app to kind of help people do that. And as you saw from kind of Pam, we've been growing kind of quarter over quarter, year over year for the last few years. So we're super proud. And our PR team makes me put this in so that we can kind of go brag about it. So PR team, I did my job. Thank you. But as the crazy product guy, I kind of feel that's not enough. We're barely scratching the surface on what we could do. Because as a consumer, as a prospective kind of home buyer, you've just kind of awakened to the need to buy a home. And really what you want to do is get to the far right, a house that you can call your home. And this crazy industry of ours makes you jump through all that crazy stuff in between. It's like a gazillion things to do. No one's really sure about what to do. And it kind of goes back, forth, zigzag, left, right, up and down, go back and forth. It's like playing chutes and ladders, right? And so we figured that's got to be a better thing. What we're doing is good, but can we be better? And can we take inspiration from other disruptions that has happened? So take transportation as a for example. In the old days, if you're in a foreign city and you're trying to get to the airport, you will try to get some information. You're trying to figure out kind of, hey, I need to get to the airport. Who can help me get there? And let me start pulling up the yellow pages and start calling things from kind of AAA, Bob's Taxi, Chum's Car Service. Who does that anymore these days, right? If you're in a foreign city, you bring up your favorite app, be it Lyft or Uber or what have you not, and you don't even think about who's going to take you there or how you're going to get there. You just start thinking about where you want to go, right? And so what these companies have done is that they've taken what was historically an information problem and they've turned it into a service problem. How do they help people get to where they want to go as opposed to giving them the ingredients of getting there? And so where we are now is that we're thinking about, well, can we do the same thing for real estate? How do we take something which is kind of what we do today, which is all about providing information to people, and how do we actually start disrupting the industry and turn it into a place where we're now the best place to kind of find information about a home, and take that crazy kind of like zigzag kind of like chutes and ladders thing, and turn us into the best way to buy a home. And that transformation is really kind of what we're up to. And it's part of the reason why, even though it's been 20 years later, the company is still reinventing itself, and kind of why people like myself, who's kind of done 3 startups, are kind of here because there's an opportunity to kind of change not just the company, but to change the whole industry. And so we're up to crazy stuff. I promise you this was an infomercial. So if you know anybody, including yourself, or the person that you just created a connection with, who's interested in kind of like disruption and changing kind of the world, we would love to speak to you. Marketers, designers, product managers, engineers, data scientists, sales. We are really trying to do crazy things here, and we will love kind of to have your help and your friends' help. Cool? All right, that's the infomercial. I got one last one, and this one's a personal one for me. That's Alyssa. So she's my 12-year-old, or I guess as my wife would call it, our 18-year-old trapped in a 12-year-old body. I have no idea what she's going to be when she grows up, but whatever it is, I know that she will be that little bit more successful because of kind of what you guys do. I think kind of you guys are making the door just a little bit wider, the path just a little bit smoother by you doing what you do. And so on behalf of Alyssa and all the young ladies that are following you, I just want to say thank you for kind of for you being you. Thank you.
You awake now? You awake? Okay, good. Okay, nice. So I'm going to invite up some of my colleagues so you can get to hear more about the true essence of what we do on a daily basis here at Realtor. So I'm going to invite up Nan and Latife and Heidi and Sam and Sonali and who else am I missing? Come on up. Come on up. We're going to have a little Q&A. Anybody who's a part of this discussion, please come on up. And we're going to go through and tell to you a little bit about our unique roles. Yeah, great, Sam. And then we'll have some time for some Q&A. All right, cool. So welcome. All right, Nan. So we were just talking about all of the nature of roles. Chung was just saying, you know, no matter sort of your scope of work, we're delighted to have you. But you have a really, you have a wonderful perspective on sort of how our consumers see Realtor.com. And as Pam was saying earlier, buying a home is one of the largest personal investments that a family, a person will make in a lifetime. So your focus, we'd love to hear more about your role, but your focus is on the consumer insights and experience. So talk to us a little bit about what your role is at Realtor.com and how you advocate for the consumer in all that we do.
Sure.
Let's see, let me turn you on. Okie doke.
Magic. Thank you. So you probably heard the word consumer popped up many times when Pam and Chang spoke. And then now in the tech world, everybody says that consumer is the one single important person in the company. But I don't know how many of you have noticed, actually, consumers, they never physically show up in our office. And then when we're making all these important decisions and then have these meetings, they're not there. So my role is really to make sure that their voices are well heard, well studied, distilled, and actually taken into consideration in all the important decisions we make in everyday life. So from that, we all know that, so as a consumer researcher, I worked in this industry for many years. So to me, studying the consumer insights is really to understand the human mind and behavior. So from my perspective, you know, human mind is made of really emotional and rational thinking. It's a combination of emotional and rational decisions. And from all the industries that we work with, so on the rational perspective, I don't think that, you know, making a purchase of home is that difference with the purchase in the other everyday life, for example, buying a car. So on one dimension of our research is really based on understanding the functionalities, the functional part of how people make their decisions. Like, for example, what's the basic needs? What information important to them? So that is the overarching foundation of how we build our websites and then apps to surface the important information to make sure that, for example, the information and filters are prioritized. And also, for example, people want to live in a safe neighborhood, so we provide a crime heat map to them, we provide school information to them. So that's the functional part. But once it comes to the emotional part, that is, to me, far more important to understand than just merely meeting their basic needs, right? And then on that end, actually found making a purchase of home is fundamentally different from just buying a pair of jeans or making grocery purchases. So for that, what we do is that we follow consumers for days and even weeks and even months to observe what they do in the natural environment in their daily life, all the decisions they make in the journey of buying a home, have their log their daily activities, have their record their digital usage, what they do when you're using the internet to search for the information, and we detailed all of that into journey maps and experience map, and share that with the entire company to make sure that everyone has a aligned understanding of what consumers are going through emotionally. So to me, so the home buying journey can really be described into 3 words: that it is extremely stressful, it's very emotional, and it's very personal. So to say that it's stressful because number one, it's a big financial decision. It's the one single biggest purchase that you probably ever make in your life. So that means you cannot make mistakes. If you make mistakes, you simply cannot return it or fix it. So that creates a lot of stress and fear in the journey. And it is also emotional because it is a long process. It takes from weeks to months and maybe years. So during that entire process, it's just basically, you don't know what you want, you find out what you want, and you find out a house, and you find out that you cannot afford it. So you find another house, and you find that someone else has got it. So it's kind of, rolling and constant emotional roller coaster of optimism, pessimism, and optimism, pessimism. Just this process goes up and down for a very long time. It's just very emotional. And it's also personal because there's no other commodity like houses that is so unique. So there's no 2 houses that are exactly the same. And there's no 2 families that have the exact needs to find out their dream home. So that makes this journey is extremely personal. So we have to be really careful when we are using machine learning, for example, data science to make recommendations. So we want to make the recommendations to the personal level, but we don't want to make the wrong recommendation because it's so personal.
And those consumer insights must be incredibly critical in the role that we also then do in all of our product design.
Exactly.
So Heidi, I know that you joined our company recently and come to Realtor.com with a truly seasoned eye and resume as it relates to design experience and the thoughtfulness from the user. Talk to us about how that brought you here and how these insights inform your daily work.
Yeah, sure. So with my daily role is Nance and her team has such a big part in the UX team because she provides us with a lot of insights from the real customers, and she also provides us with the real problems. So for our team, we understand that buying a house is such a big decision, and it could be a lot of process, and it could be stressful. And for our team, it is very important to relate with that emotional level and to understand what are the real problems our users are facing. So because in our role, we want to make sure that we are solving the right problems and we understand what are the problems that we are trying to solve for our customer, because we want to make their life easier, not making them more stressful in their home buying journey. So it is part of our design process that we want to validate our design. So we work closely with the user researcher team. We do a lot of user testing to validate our design decisions, whether it makes sense to our customers or not. And also, we partner with the engineers early on in the beginning to make sure that our ideas and our future visual design makes sense for them to be built within the given timeline. So in our company, we try to support each teams, and because after all, we work as one team, and the engineering team is like where they make all the magics to happen, and where they're the one who ships the product. So we try to collaborate with as many teams as possible, and then trying to support them. And for me, I feel very fortunate to be a part of this team because we have 63 million visitors, and really feeling fortunate to be a part of the home buying journey. And also to have a team that is very supportive, and this is the team where I can make a huge impact. And I have such an awesome manager, just Sam. So yeah, I feel really grateful and fortunate to be a part of this journey, and then to be the designer for.
Well, that was well done, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, the kudos to Sam. Yeah, nice. She gets a job spot bonus. Hey, Sam, so are you ever worried about, you know, for all of the work that we see your team's doing and all the emotion that comes with it, do you ever worry that the work that we're doing doesn't have a significant impact and that it's not making a difference in the home buying journey?
Never.
Okay. Great.
No,
all right, and then we'll go to Sonali. No, I'm kidding.
No, I just like to echo what Nan and Heidi said, and especially when you've got such incredible team or colleagues. We've got an incredible research team, an incredible design team. They really take the guesswork out of it. We have enough insights. We sort of do know what's going on out there. Like, they're relentless in talking to people. Like, later on, if you're talking to Heidi, she's probably going to show you a prototype or something, or do some user testing with you here in the corridor. But it's that ethos, it's that talking to people. You alluded to it before, Sarah, about conversations. It's really important. And in design, a lot of that, and product, it's really just about having a conversation. That classic Henry Ford quote about, you know, if you asked customers what they wanted, would have said faster horses. It's similar with us. We don't ask people, oh, hey, how'd you go buying a house? Or necessarily tell us about how we can make the house buying better, because it's an awful process to go through. We really listen to, tell us about what you went through. Tell us about the really hellish moments. Tell us about the worst part of it. Tell us about the best, the most euphoric part. And then we sort of listen to that, and then we say, well, that really awful part, I think we can fix that. So it's about conversation, it's about talking, it's about testing, it's about always being on top of what's going on in the market, what's going on with technology, but most importantly, what's going on with our actual users. I literally don't do anything. All these wonderful people do all the work. So yeah, we're just very lucky to have such a great team.
And then Sonali, you've got quite a portfolio that you're looking after these days as it relates to our web-based and mobile experience. So what does that remit look like? What does that scope of work look like from both an engineering and a tech direction as it relates to Realtor.com? You know, having been, you know, we revolutionized digital real estate 20 years ago. How do you continue to innovate on that, you know, after year?
Yeah. That's a great question, but before I answer that, I mean, there are a lot of girls in the room, there are a lot of girls on stage. I did want to mention that at Realtor.com, we do foster a lot of, women and elevating women sort of in the workforce. Not answering your question yet, but I did want to bring that in. So about 2 years back, we actually formed a group called Inspiring Women at Realtor.com, and really bringing all the women community together, you know, providing leadership and mentorship opportunities for women. So just wanted to tee you out there for those of you who are, wanting to be part of our family. It's obviously a great place to be for women and girls, and for great guys like Simon as well. So that's that. And also coming to your question, Sarah, I think in terms of technologies, in engineering at Realtor.com, we have a plethora of technologies. So starting from our back end, which is now entirely in the AWS cloud, to machine learning and data science, as well as to our front ends, where we have, totally native iOS and Android apps, as well as the latest technologies on web. So plethora of technologies that we work on. Just in the year and a half that I've been here, I wanted to highlight some wins that I see in engineering. So we put together a massive AWS architecture for which Amazon sort of gave us a pat on the back saying, guys, you're solving complex problems at scale with the right architecture. So I think coming from Amazon, guys, that was a great certification. Not just that, so one of my principal engineers at my team is going to be presenting at AWS reInvent, and he was invited by Amazon to do it in November. So I think that speaks of the engineering innovation culture that we have. We also have a lot of sort of patent pending technologies and some patented technologies at Realtor as well. So last year we released on our Android apps a technology for augmented reality, where you could really take your phone, point it at a street, and you kind of see like, Pokemon Go like little cards, where you can literally, I mean, you guys should try it. You should download our Android app and go out on the street where you want to buy a house and just point it out there. You'll be able to see little cards with home values on it. So I think that just really speaks to the culture that we have in engineering, which is not just, hey, let's just deliver software, but let's innovate and let's bring in patent pending technologies to the company. So hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Now, Latife, you're in the space of big data, which is, really sort of the glamorous world out there. It certainly is. I go to sleep just thinking about big data. It's certainly, though, from a hiring standpoint and from the nature of our business, it's frothy work. Why did you choose Realtor.com to come to and apply your expertise? What does that world look like here versus at others? Because I think that's a very unique perspective that often for many of us rounds out why we landed here.
Well, I went through the pain, but real pain of home buying, and wanted to make use of the insights and domain knowledge that I gained through the process to help other people buy their dream homes. So I knew that I was going to work in a digital real estate company in my next role. So given that, why Realtor.com but not other companies? There's a number of reasons for that. One is in companies where with large established data science teams, majority of the time goes into like improving models that already exist. Right? Something is already solved and you're just trying to make this much impact on top of that. Here, however, we have untapped opportunities to innovate. And every project comes with a significant opportunity of impact to make to achieve that great user experience that Chung was talking about. So that's one thing. Another thing is, in other companies, most companies, I'll say, data scientists work in limited verticals. So if you're working in image classification, it is only related problems that you'll be working on, but you'll not be exposed to other type of problems. Data science is very broad, right? In our team is working on like a broad range of problems, from image classification to text mining, pricing, customized ranking of the home search results, for example, for each user. So personalized home recommendations for each user.
So it's meaty stuff. You're not just making a small impact.
No. And everyone in our team can work on different projects, right? Recently I'm working on pricing, but I'm not bounded with that. So it's a great opportunity for a data scientist to be exposed to a wide range of problems, because your learning curve is always steep then. Well, all these projects require strong computing power, and Realtor.com is a power user of AWS, Amazon Web Services. So these projects require computing power, but also ability to handle very, very large data sets. That's what we use to build all these models in our projects. So we have access to AWS services, and super powerful computers to both build and productionize our models, which is important and a very good resource for any data scientist. It's a dream, actually. Not every company has that. So another reason is we have strong higher management support for us to be more data-driven company. And the last but not the least, I have another reason. I work with a great team, which is very important for me. Work environment is very, very important, and I feel lucky to be working with incredibly talented and nice in capital letters and friendly in capital letters people within my team.
Actually, I so appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, we'll take
That's
the applause,
important.
Right? But you know, like for as much as we love like the nature of our vertical and the expertise that we bring to work, it really is about the people that you share it with. Actually, can we just go down the row real quickly and you guys just give me like a quick soundbite about why you came to Realtor.com?
Sure. So I think I've done a number of startups before. I've done 3 startups. I've done large companies, plethora of different companies in the Valley for the last 20 years. I think what was most exciting to me about Realtor.com is if you go to a startup, you're really in a very sort of small, struggling environment. If you go to a large company, you're a small fish lost in a very big pond. I think Realtor.com is special because we're kind of a mid-sized company that's on a scaling path, and it really allows you to create that impact without being siloed into a sort of small fish, big pond problem. So that's why I came to Realtor.com.
Sam, what about you? It must have been very easy just to move down the street and head on over to Realtor.com.
Yes, 8,000 miles across the Pacific. No, a few years ago, actually, when I worked for a company in Australia who bought into Move here, I remember my CEO at the time came in and she actually stood perched on top of one of those wheelie desk chairs, and I'm like, oh my God, the CEO is going to break her neck right in front of us. But no, she was quite poised, and she got up and said, we've bought this company in the US, and I went, I know what I'm doing next year. It took a couple of years of hassling, where's Ryan, our CEO, and I was badgering and emailing, please, can we come over? And then, 18 months ago, my wife and I packed a couple of suitcases, literally across the Pacific, had no idea what was going to happen. We rocked up the first day, and here we are. And we're sticking around another 2 years. That's how much we love it. But I just echo all the points here. I think helping 60 million Americans make the biggest decision of their life is super powerful and super motivating and driving, but also the ability to have an individual impact. Like just recently, we've relaunched a new redesign of the homepage. Heidi and I did that. It's like, there it is, just the two of us, and in terms of what it looks like, it was a great team who built it, but we got to have that direct impact, and that's quite incredible. So yeah, it's great.
What about you, Heidi? You came recently.
Yeah, so I actually used to live in LA. It wasn't really an easy decision for me because I really, really love LA. I've come to this North California a few times, and I feel like they don't really have anything here compared to LA. But I think for me, it's more about the mission of the company. I think the mission is very noble, which is to make Americans to make one of the big decisions in their lives. So that is why I really love doing my job, and that's why I'm really passionate in helping them and to achieve the missions of the company. So I feel really glad, and I think I made the right decisions to move here.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And what about you, Nan?
So 2 things. First, I want to echo what Sonali just said. At this company, it's a really great combination of like being big and being small. I say being small is because here it's kind of small enough you can make a lot of like nurture your personal relationships with your stakeholders, and then to everybody roll up their sleeves and get things done. Sort of feeling like a startup. Everybody's so bold and so excited about the latest technology, and at the same time, it's big enough so you get all the resources to get your job done. Like we got to, as a researcher, go around the country to go to the research meetings and I'm interested in. Same for the data team, technology team, product team. We got to go to the training and conferences to get to know what's going on there, to learn out the most cutting edge technology. So I really truly appreciate that as a researcher. And then the second thing is that I have to do the plug-in for a researcher's job. Who here is a researcher, user experience researcher, market researcher? Oh wow, I see a few hands, hooray. So a lot of people tell me that you have the most exciting job in the company, that you got to learn about what people do and learn about what's going on in people's mind, talk to consumers, and you get paid. So, so I have to say, because I'm so obsessed with understanding human being, understanding human behavior, and I'm also so obsessed with technology. I am married to a PhD in mathematics, so that's how crazy I am. So this is. I think here is the perfect intersection of where humanity meets technology and science. That I love working here.
We'd love to take a few of your questions. Monty, if you want to come up and get the mic from Latife real quickly. I'll tell you guys while she's getting the mic, and raise your hand if anybody has a question. The reason that I came to Realtor.com is, I guess it was almost 20 years ago, I was working at Apple, and I've worked at a number of luminary brands across the Valley, and fast forward, the chief marketing officer here and I worked at Apple then. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next. And I think we all get incredibly attracted to these brands that have this halo effect, where we hear about, Metallica coming to play during lunch in the quad, or, the free lunches, or all that stuff. And I actually went and talked to a lot of those companies. I even sat with a number of the CEOs because I wanted to know straight from the source what those companies were like. And the juice wasn't worth the squeeze every time I sort of went and had those conversations. And Nate, our CMO, was like, do you want to come work with us? And I got here, and the people kept me. And I couldn't be more sincere about that. And I think the testimonies that we've all shared here today, we wouldn't be up on stage if we didn't believe that wholeheartedly. I love you, Deepa. And so we're just really glad you're here, and would love to take any of your questions, because we think that this is a really special place and would love to hear from you. So Monty, we've got a question right back here, and we'd love to get a mic to you.
Hello. I don't know if you can hear me. So you guys mentioned that, or you ladies mentioned that you had a women ERG, and you started that 2 years ago. I'm curious what prompted that, who kind of initiated that development, and why it took, because you guys have been in business now for 20 years, why it took 18 years to do that.
So no guesses on who started it. It was the women at Realtor.com, right? So it was all of us coming together. Why it wasn't done in the past 18 years, I wasn't here to witness that or answer that. But what I can say is, I think from an HR perspective as well as the entire leadership perspective, there's an immense support for starting that initiative, where really we do a bunch of things. One, we provide a platform for women to connect with each other. Second, we actually embrace topics which are dear to all of us women at heart, whether it's work-life balance, whether it's imposter syndrome, communication, confidence, all of those issues that relate to all of us. And so really third is also a sort of one-on-one mentorship opportunity. So don't know what happened in the past 18. I can tell you what's going to happen in the next 10.
I can just add to that real quickly. A couple years ago, there was that report that came out that shined a light on what a number of larger companies in the tech space, how they were not coming up with the right numbers as it related to equality in the workplace. And I think that really put a spotlight on some of the more notable brands that we all thought would have been glowing in their numbers. And so I think that there were a number of companies at that time that had to stop nasal gazing and come up with solutions quickly. And I think that smaller companies, oftentimes we just think perhaps that we're okay. And so we took pause in that moment and also said, we've really got to be thoughtful about this. And so whether it's in our pulse surveys with our employees or in our surveying with our own women and people and diversity, we're really committed to having the conversation. So I don't think that that's any excuse for not having addressed it before, but what I can say is that we're certainly a part of a family that wants to be our best. And we're doing it for the right reasons at the right time.
The other thing that I'd like to add is I think the gender ratio, female to male, at Realtor.com, I believe is around 30%. I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that we are better than most companies in the industry here today.
Any more questions? We'd love to have the conversation with you. We have some questions up here.
Hi, so there's a lot of competition in the real estate area, with Zillow and Trulia. How do you compete with other companies that are out there trying to sell real estate?
So one thing I'd like to add is I think at Realtor.com we have a philosophy of not being a me too of any other site. So we know it's a crowded space. There's a lot of competition. We aren't striving or in fact attempting to not copy any of our competitions. We believe we have our own unique strategies to get there where we want to get to.
Great. Since I'm closest to the mic, I will take the next question. So thank you for sharing your personal and professional stories. Since you're trailblazing in the technology space and in the problem space and understanding consumers, I was wondering why only US? Do you have plans going global? Because this is a common global problem.
Do you want to address that, Sam? Anybody?
It's a great question. So we are part of, I guess, a global property network in a way. Part of our company's owned by a large property portal in Australia, which has a footprint all across Asia, parts of Europe, and also India. And I think we're able to sort of share intellectual property and ideas and UX patterns and technology and approach to data science and things like that. So there's a lot of knowledge sharing. There's a lot of random Slack conversations at 3 o'clock in the morning from Australia back to here and bouncing around the world. So I think being able to share that knowledge certainly allows us to keep up to speed with what's happening in other countries. But in terms of our corporate strategy.
Yeah, no, we were also talking yesterday we were also, as employees, talking with our CEOs yesterday about the attractiveness of both the Canadian and Mexican markets. So.
Oh, thank you. Hi, I actually was just in the real estate market and it's very fresh in my head and it moved really, really fast and I was really hesitant to use an app because I knew it would probably consume me, but I caved in and I had to because my husband was using it as well. So one thing I noticed was that there were some differences between the various sites and sadly actually things moved so fast that I felt like I had split second to choose which one I was going to use right away, and Realtor.com was not one of them. And it actually didn't surface. So that said, what could you talk to me about how the MLS or working with brokerages, how does it impede on information that you provide and actually providing the best information on making and actually having the information that you provide actually make the consumer decide that, yes, I'm going to use Realtor.com for that reason because you guys have that information nobody does?
Yeah, so Realtor.com has the maximum number of MLSs of all of our competitions that you spoke about. We have about 800 MLSs that we have integration with, and we have the maximum data available from all of these portals. Not only do we have the maximum, we claim to be the fastest in the industry today to get that information to you. So that's 2. Number 3, besides the data that is published by MLSs, we are trying to generate value with what we call user-generated content. So whether it's about this is the most viewed property or is the hottest property on the market, whether it's about this is a property which is distinguished because of the number of because it has a pool or the largest backyard. So I think the short answer to your question, number one, we have the maximum number of MLSs that we integrated with. Two, we are trying to augment that with what we call proprietary data, essentially user-generated content.
Follow-up question, and how do you actually, one of the things I'm always nervous about is how is my information being used and tracked on the back end?
Yeah, that's a great question. Maybe we can take it offline in the Q&A.
Sure.
I'm happy to provide, how we are actually anonymizing your information and your privacy is protected.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Yvonne. Thank you so much for hosting this event. This actually is a question for Anand. I'm a user researcher too. With 63 million users per month, obviously there's a lot of data, and with executives and high-level positions, they are very data-driven. So I want to ask you, how do you run into conflicts with the usability studies or the studies that you have, and how do you convince them to believe in your findings?
So this is a very great question. So actually, the straight answer is that it's not easy. It's actually very difficult. So, so first of all, we want to work from the, getting alignment from all levels, right? We want to first make sure that not just revenue, not just UUs, not just page views are our critical metric to define our success. We want to get alignment from higher up to everyone in the company that getting consumer satisfaction is also one of the critical metrics to define our success. And the other way is to really convince everyone is to get them to the ground, to participating in all of the research. And then when we talk to consumers, when we go out to Texas, to Sacramento, to New York, to observe how people do get as much involvement as possible so they can actually see it and listen to what the consumers have to say. And sometimes they're like, wow, I have no idea that they feel this about our product. That's actually changes a lot. And then the third thing is just you have to be really persistent, and then sometimes reputation does work, and then constantly appearing in meetings, and then just something to run into people like, hey, when you gonna get this consumer ask into your roadmap? So just repeatedly and persistently do that, then that makes a difference too.
We'd love to answer more of your questions, but we also want to enjoy some hospitality with you and get to know you more as well. So we're going to step off the stage and hear a little bit more from Pam, and hope we get to spend more time with you in the back.